Pathways for professional growth. How to provide job satisfaction for your team and get your team doing the best work of their lives. Today, I want to talk to you guys about how to create a win-win-win. That's a win for your best team members, a win for your clinic, and a win for you as the clinic owner. That's my leadership team up there. What a beautiful looking bunch, don't you think? Makes my heart sing every time I see that photo. So, just a show of hands. Who here started their career working for somebody else? Come on, show of hands, everyone. Great. Now leave your hands up if you decided that you wanted to leave that clinic because there weren't any career pathways or career progressions for you in that role there. Yeah, quite a few people. Thank you. Final question. Of those people who left that clinic, who might have stayed longer if there were other opportunities for you within that clinic? Team pathways, career progressions, etc. Great. Thank you. So before I was a business owner, I was a physiotherapist, and I loved it. I love being busy. I love treating lots of patients. I love creating awesome outcomes with my patients, and I love keeping my boss happy. And I was one of those physios that in my spare time would go down to the local footy club and try and generate my own referrals. I would find out what lunch the local GP enjoyed and take it to them to try and generate new referrals. I would stay back an extra couple of hours to fit in an extra few clients. Crazy, but I just loved it. I literally just loved treating as many patients as possible. However, there came a time where I realized that this wasn't going to be sustainable for very long. I was in my 20s, but at some stage I knew I was going to meet someone and I'd want to have a family, and I'd want to have kids, and I'd want to spend time with my children. So I realized that working that way was not going to be something I could do for my whole life. And at that moment as well, owning a business was the least thing on my mind. The idea of owning a business, too stressful, too much risk, too much money, too much hard work. So instead, at that time, I approached my boss and I said, listen, I don't know how I'm going to be able to continue to do this. And my boss, to his credit, was lovely, and he said, listen, here's what I'm going to do, Trav. I'm going to make you clinic lead. And all you need to do is attend a meeting with me every month and tell me how the clinic's going. And then I'm going to pay you an extra bonus based on the performance of the practice. How good, how good. So of course I said, yes, that'd be fantastic. Awesome, thank you so much. And it was great for a little while. Except after about 6 months, I realized that my roles and responsibilities hadn't changed at all. There was no real position description. There was nothing that I was being held accountable for. My boss wasn't even giving me an hour of mentoring at all. There was no mentoring. There was no development. And I was left feeling fairly unfulfilled. And I couldn't really articulate it. I couldn't articulate why at the time to myself, to my family, to my boss. But I wanted more. I wanted to be able to grow. I wanted to be able to develop. I wanted to be able to take on new skills. In his book, Drive, Daniel Pink talks about the key motivating factors to help your team members do the best work of their lives. And the old carrot and the stick method, you know, the one where you just pay your team members more because they ask for it, that actually doesn't work to help motivate people. And in fact, what we need to help motivate people are the ability to master new skills, autonomy, and purpose. So in my role as the leading physio in that clinic, I didn't have any new skills to learn. He hadn't taught me how to be a leader, hadn't taught me how to communicate. There was no opportunity to learn how to inspire other people on the team to do some of the things that I was doing. There was no autonomy. I didn't have any ability to make decisions around how the business was being run at all. And there was no sense of purpose that aligns the team. So in the end, I decided if I was going to be able to achieve some level of mastery and I was going to get some autonomy, and a sense of purpose, I was going to have to commit the ultimate act of autonomy, and that was to leave that business and start my own practice. But what if he'd done things a little bit differently? What if instead he'd said, Trav, you know what? You're a gun. I've really enjoyed working with you, and I'm really proud of the progress you've made over the last few years as a physio, but also I can see leadership potential in you. So here's what I'd love to do. I'd love to create a career pathway for you to become a leader in this practice. So what I'd love you to do is take control of the therapist roster so you can choose who's on when. I'm going to get you to have team meetings so that you can work on the development of your team. I'm going to let you sit in on recruitment interviews. And why don't we sit down and we set the vision of the clinic together. And not only that, I'm going to give you an hour of my time every fortnight where I can help you be a better leader and a better communicator and help inspire others. And if you do really well and you really enjoy it, in a couple of years, why don't we sit down and talk about having a new clinic and opening a new clinic together? How does that sound? Now, I don't know about you, but that would sound pretty good to me. But I'm not going to put my hand up and say that that wouldn't have stopped me from leaving and starting my own thing. But I'm damn sure that I would have stayed an extra couple of years longer and I would have given everything to that business for that extra time that I was there. I can also guarantee that a lot of you business owners in here will have one or two team members on your team that are thinking like this as well. And if you can provide them with a sense of mastering new skills, some autonomy, even the ability to make some simple decisions around how the clinic's running, like purchasing equipment, looking at different suppliers for products, choosing the toilet paper, whatever, and you have a sense of purpose that aligns your team, then you've got a pretty special clinic and you've got a pretty special culture. And that'll help you create that win-win-win. A win for your best team members, a win for the clinic, and a win for you, the clinic owner. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Vanessa and I've got a speech pathology clinic in New South Wales for adults. My question is to Trav. I have a clinician with amazing skills and in a way we see different clientele. I'm very neuro-focused. We've got another clinician who's probably a little bit more neuro-focused, but I have a particular clinician who's very good with working with alternative and augmentative communication, complex clients, non-verbal clients, and I'm finding it really hard to distill when you're talking about teaching new skills to others, and she's very, I don't know, I couldn't possibly know a thing, but she's got a lot in her head, and also I guess it's very nuanced work that she does. So I'm interested to know, how did you distill maybe what might be nuanced work and someone who sort of really says, oh, look, I don't really know that much, when they actually really do. It's a very grey area that she works in.
Thank you. That's a great question. And I don't know if I can answer that adequately, but I'll have a crack. I think it's really important that with any team member, communication is really key between you and them. And that really understanding what they want and what their desire statement is key first and foremost. And I think if over time they can be a bit more vulnerable and really detail to you what they really genuinely want, then you can start to have an understanding now of what things you could potentially be teaching them in order to give them what they want, essentially. So for someone like that, they might be thinking potentially that we're trying to get them to step up into some skills that they're not comfortable with right now and they don't want. So maybe it's about meeting them where they are and thinking, well, what do you want? What are some other things that you're interested in? Is it some systems around the business and overseeing those perhaps? Can I help teach you and upskill you in that particular area? Is it, do you just want to mentor your special skill set to a younger therapist or student? Can I upskill you in that in some way? So trying to find some way to teach them skills that meets them where they're at. And then over time, a lot of people will evolve and kind of want more as they get more comfortable with some of those skills that you're teaching them.
I've got one question here for Trav. What structure have you put in place to support team members moving into a leadership role? So is all support and development in-house, or have you used some external training and courses?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And actually, that gives me some good ideas. So we've got a foundation layer of support and mentoring at our business that is the same no matter what sort of level or pathway that you're going on. And that is that we've got regular one-on-one. We've got a monthly walk and talk, which is a one-on-one meeting with a mentee and their mentor. We've got clinical one-on-one sessions as well. And we have quarterly review desire statement sessions as well. So these conversations are regularly happening, and there's regular upskilling and mentoring, sharing of resources. A lot of the resources, quite honestly, are ones that I've just picked up through the CM community over the years that I've been a member and a coach as well. but also as a leadership team, we will often sort of share resources that we just randomly find and file them away, thinking actually this resource would be really great on, it might be a 5-second rule resource, or it might be managing your time better resource. We'll pop this in the hub, and then we'll be able to use this in a mentoring session down the line. So it's very much that fundamental sort of structure of mentoring that we have very much for any Pathways team member. Yes, my clinic's called Pathways, from the very beginning onwards.